The last time Bitcoin retested this level, we went up about 12x, and right now with Bitcoin creating a major divergence on the global liquidity, this is really a very interesting zone where we're currently trading on. While we're still trading in the downward sloping trend, I need to talk about what historically has happened whenever we touch such kind of a level. I'm gonna be breaking down what is happening in the worldwide economic war. I'm gonna be talking about the US stock market and its most important levels where we're currently trading on, about some very important economic news that is going to be hitting the market today, and much more important charts, including the dollar index, which is right now telling us a very interesting story. So I'm going to be exactly breaking it down on today's update video. So don't forget to once again slap all that like button back above 1,000 likes. It will be highly appreciated. And let me jump straight away in towards today's update video. So to kick off the video, I quickly want to be talking about that Bitcoin is still creating a CME futures gap here, and currently it is sitting around $83,887, and it looks to be that probably this weekend we're not going to be filling up this gap here, but historically, like 99% of the times, we tend to fill it up within the first week here, but sometimes it happens a week later. But ultimately, Bitcoin moved, of course, towards the downside due to the fact that we got this world trade war. And right now, this world trade war is slowing down ever so slightly because Trump is stating that the first deals on tariffs are very close right now here. And yes, also yesterday we saw the European Union to pause all the counter tariffs against the US for also 90 days. So very interesting what is happening in the world of the economic war here. But at the same time, we have seen the S&P 500, the US stock market, rebounded towards the upside. And like I said on yesterday's video, it had its second best ever day in history with a single daily candle of about 9.5% here. And the inflation reading came out quite bullish for Bitcoin and crypto because inflation dropped more than expected. And yes, after, of course, inflation dropped more than expected, we've actually not seen any bigger rate cuts being priced in here because Jerome Powell has clearly stated he just wants to wait longer to see clearly if inflation isn't sticky. And today we're going to get the PPI readings, which is the United States Producer Price Index. And yes, this is going to be very important because if this is going to be dropping, we could start to see maybe the sentiment shift for, of course, potentially rate cuts in the near future. But as long as this is not happening, it is likely that we're not going to get any rate cuts or whatsoever. So this is going to be crucial to be looking at right now for the market. At the same time, we're still seeing negative funding rates, which means that the majority of the traders in the entire market on Bitcoin and also across all the altcoins are still trading short. But of course, that make a lot of sense because we're still seeing extreme fear across the cryptocurrency market, but also across the US stock market. So yeah, we're still seeing extreme fears in the market. But I do believe this is not really a great time to be panicking right now here because, like I said in the intro of the video, right now we're seeing literally that the liquidity is heavily increasing, but Bitcoin so far hasn't. And historically speaking, whenever we create a big divergence on the liquidity, Bitcoin always comes back here. So you can see the bigger the divergence, the bigger the rally is actually. And now we're creating a massive divergence on the global liquidity. And it is actually more than likely that Bitcoin is eventually going to be moving back towards the upside. So I'm super excited for that here. And ultimately, of course, we're still seeing that we're creating a major downward sloping trend line here on the daily time frame for Bitcoin. I am going to be taking this level very seriously because as long as we're not breaking above this level, I do believe we're not breaking the downtrend yet on Bitcoin. And I think that, of course, if we're going to be looking at Bitcoin, we're just sitting at this very important horizontal support range. As long as we're holding on towards it, it's going to be okay here. And of course, this has been all along my big support target for Bitcoin, and it will remain to be so. So if you're looking at the daily time frame, you're seeing, of course, the downward sloping trend line. We're also seeing the EMA ribbon, which is creating a downward sloping trend line as well here. And of course, whenever Bitcoin breaks above the previous high, which in my opinion is going to be the $87,000 level, as soon as we can break above this high right here, I will start to say, okay, now we're probably going to be seeing a bigger continuation towards the upside. But as long as we're not breaking above that range high in the market, I believe we're not going to see any continuation whatsoever towards higher levels. And historically as well, if we're going to be looking at towards the previous highs in the market and where we actually bounced from, it has been that every single time whenever Bitcoin has bounced there, it was from of that previous high in the market. So once again, we're retesting this previous high in the market right now here. And yes, historically, this has meant Bitcoin was, of course, going in a bigger push towards the upside. So that is, of course, a very exciting thing here. And you can see that every single time we have seen big wicks on the lower side, big corrections towards the downside, Bitcoin eventually, once again, moves towards the upside. And Bitcoin, it's very normal. It's a very, very healthy structure which we're currently creating. We're creating a high and then higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. It's a very healthy structure which we're currently creating, and Bitcoin is exactly doing it right now here. And what I talked about in the intro, history is literally repeating right now here. And this chart is Bitcoin against the VIX, so the volatility index on the stock market. And historically speaking, whenever the volatility on the stock market hits such highs here, it usually means a very great time for Bitcoin is ahead of ourselves. Like you can see, it happened in 2021. We had a major rally towards the upside, about 1200%. Then in 2015 to 2017, we had about 2200% move towards the upside. And now once again, we're retesting that exact level, and it is likely that we're at least going to be seeing like a 4x towards the upside. Maybe it's even a 3x, but this is really a very interesting range for Bitcoin to be really paying attention towards. And at the same time, we're still looking at a major liquidity heat map here, with the majority of the liquidity in this region right now laying around $85,000 with about $141 million worth of Bitcoin short liquidations around that region. So guys, if you are right now interested in trading, I still have my trades open on Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'm both still accumulating in these ranges, and like I showed on many videos before, I have been taking significant profits on my trade here. So actually the trade was already in significant profit, but I managed to take the profit to, of course, reinvest it elsewhere. But yeah, the trades are doing actually a very great job here if you approach it like that. So if you want to be copying my Bitcoin or Ethereum strategy, don't forget to check it out in the link description of today's video. And if you want to maybe sign up an account to Pionex yourself to set up your own trading bots, guys, don't forget to go to the highest link description of today's video, sign up an account to Pionex, and you will already get a free $1,000 to, of course, set up your own trading bots as well here. Then quickly, I want to be talking about the dollar index, because the dollar index is absolutely dropping towards the lower side in a very rapid pace here. And this is a very great thing for the entire market, because Bitcoin is, of course, measured against the dollar. And if the dollar dumps here, it's going to be easier and cheaper to, of course, import goods from the United States of America. And of course, like we do know, back from 2016, whenever Donald Trump went into office, he also managed to drop the dollar index quite heavily to 88 approximately. And of course, I can imagine it's going to be the same scenario this time around here. And of course, if the dollar index drops so heavily, it's going to be great for all the assets measured against the dollar. And if you're maybe in a country that is not holding the US dollar, it is going to be great for you as well here, because you're going to have more purchasing power in the United States of America, or if you're using foreign goods as well to buy stuff. So that is ultimately very great here, and I do think this trend is going to be continuing towards the downside. That is the overall consensus. If we break this support box, probably the dollar index is going to go in a free fall all the way down to 89 to 90 approximately on the index. So that is just very great to be seeing right now here. And of course, ultimately, that is going to be meaning already Bitcoin is at least going to be pushing another 10% higher, because Bitcoin is valued against the dollar. And if the dollar dumps by 10% here, Bitcoin increases by 10% here. So that is a very great thing here to be seeing. And of course, guys, if I'm going to be looking at all these previous cycles towards each other, I just look at where we're currently sitting, and I just feel like this is really a very great opportunity right now as well. Also, if you're going to compare the Ethereum compared to Bitcoin valuation, and purely if you're going to be looking at Ethereum right now here, it is sitting in an extremely oversold territorium. And while this is happening, major whales are still accumulating in a very rapid pace right now here. It is sitting at this previous low in the market. I think it's a very great zone in terms of accumulation. And historically speaking, every single altcoin season has been started from off this level where we're currently sitting on. So you're literally getting one of the best entries in the entire market right now here. And I am very excited for Ethereum to, of course, create that bounce. And whenever that bounce does happen, we're going to be in for a big continuation higher. So I've been accumulating a lot of Ethereum, and I'm publicly stating it. I've been publicly stating that I've been accumulating Ethereum since that $2,000 region. And I mean, all the way down, I've been accumulating it. And I mean, I am so far in a slight little loss of my accumulation on Ethereum. But I do think eventually, whenever we're going to create at least a slight little bounce here, I'm going to be making a significant profit, because I do think Ethereum is going to be doing extremely well here. So yeah, I'm extremely excited about Ethereum. But anyways, this was it for me in today's update video, guys. I mean, I can clearly see it. views are down, not only across my channel, but across most of the channels, because people think, oh, Bitcoin is boring. There's not so much happening right now here. The bull market is over. People are not tuning in anymore here. But actually, this is a sign that this is actually a very great time here. And probably greater times are going to come here, because we're not seeing any greed whatsoever across retail investors. And because most of the retail investors, of course, watch my videos. So, and of course, other channels as well here. So that is a very interesting metrics. Make sure to think about it. I mean, I see all the metrics. I see that the views across all platforms, not only for me, but for every creator, are down. So that means that there's less interest. And whenever there's less interest, whenever there's high fear in the market, it usually corresponds with great opportunities in the market. So that is all I got to say right now here. Just think about it. But anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Goodbye.